Youth basketball. It's a world of huge dreams, right? But also some seriously big pressures. So in this explainer, we're going to break down two really different ways of approaching the game and what they tell us about how we're shaping young athletes. All right, let's get into it.
You know the drill. You see the slick crossovers, the buzzer beaters, the huge celebrations, and it's so easy to just get lost in all that hype. But behind every single one of those moments is the real story, the one that doesn't make the highlight reel. We're talking about the private doubts, the crazy public pressure, but also that pure, simple joy of just playing. That's the magic, you know? It's what keeps these kids lacing up their sneakers day in and day out. So for this explainer, we're doing something a little different. We're going straight to the source. We were given access to actual diary entries, handwritten notes, the totally unfiltered thoughts of young players from two completely different basketball cultures, the US and Slovenia. This isn't filtered through parents or coaches. This is just their truth.
And you know, the first thing that just jumps out at you, it's that it doesn't matter if a kid is in a tiny village or a huge city. When they pick up a basketball, that dream they're chasing, it feels exactly the same.
Look at this. On one side of the planet, you've got Tija. She's 15 from a Slovenian village with literally 151 people in it, and she's already training with a senior team. Then you've got Dre, also 15, in the US, looking up to his heroes like LeBron. The stages are totally different, right? But that drive, that ambition, it's exactly the same.
And then there's this note from a 13-year-old kid named Hunter. Man, this really gets to the core of it all. He writes, "When I play basketball with my friends, I feel free, without a care in the world. I learned a lot of adults lost track of what basketball is supposed to be." Wow, just what a powerful reminder, right? For these kids, the game is so much bigger than just the final score.
And if you want to talk about pure joy, listen to this. This is from Monka. She's only 6 years old, the youngest voice we heard. That feeling she describes, like anything is possible, that's the magic. That's what we're talking about. That's the dream right there.
Okay, so the dream is universal. We get that. But, and this is a big but, here's where things get really complicated. Because the path to that dream, it is absolutely not the same. These kids are coming up in two completely different systems with totally different ideas about how to build a player.
So in the Balkans, you have this really old-school, stripped-down approach. Think endless layup drills, suicide sprints, and this team-above-all-else mindset. But in America, it's a full-blown industry. We're talking about these incredible state-of-the-art facilities, private coaches, the whole shebang. A system basically engineered to find and create the next superstar.
And this image just says it all, doesn't it? On one side, you've got this worn-down community court in Slovenia. It's simple, it's weathered, but the game is everything there. And on the other, this gleaming, high-tech palace in the US where basketball isn't just a game, it's serious business. It's amazing. Two totally different paths, but they both start from that same love of the game.
So you have to wonder, right? How do these wildly different worlds actually shape the players? Well, as we're about to see, it's not just about the X's and O's. It's about how they feel about the game itself. Take this from Ruben, who's 15 and living in Slovenia. For him, the basketball court, it's not a stage, it's not a job, it's his sanctuary. It's where all the noise of the outside world just disappears. And this phrase he uses, a Zen state, man, that came up over and over again with the players in the Balkans.
Okay, so hold on to that idea of a Zen state for a second. And now let's pivot to the United States and look at this number, 51%. Yeah, forget a Zen state. Forget even having an off season. More than half of parents in the US believe their kid has to play basketball all year long, just to keep up. It's a hamster wheel of non-stop competition. And what does that lead to? Burnout, overuse injuries. We had one coach tell us something crazy. He said, even NBA players get a break, but these kids are playing more hoops than the pros.
And this is the real human cost of all that pressure. This is a quote from a parent in the US talking about how the game was just crushing their kid with anxiety. That constant pressure to perform was literally sucking the joy right out of the sport he once loved.
You know, this pressure, it's not just about winning or losing. It's about how you're supposed to play. And this gets us to maybe the biggest difference between these two basketball worlds, what they actually value.
So let's throw another number at you. This one tells a huge part of the story, 43%.
What does that mean? Well, it's the reality of what people are calling highlight culture. Think about it. We live in an age of social media, right?
where scouts are recruiting kids off of YouTube mixtapes, and a single viral clip can make you famous. That one flashy play can suddenly seem way more important than a whole season of just being a solid fundamental teammate.
And wow, this quote from a parent just hits the nail on the head. They said the whole brand and me aspect is killing the poetry of the game. Killing the poetry of the game. That's powerful. That beautiful idea of 5 players working as one, it's getting lost in the shuffle, all for the sake of the next viral moment. And chasing that dream, well, it also has a very literal price tag. I mean, the average cost just for program fees can be insane. There was this one story that's just heartbreaking about a set of twins who both lived for the game, but their family could only afford the elite team fees for one of them. So you know what they did? They made a pact. If they couldn't play together, neither one would play. The game they love is literally becoming a luxury good.
So when you take a step back and look at the whole picture, you've got the passion, the intense pressure, the crazy cost, it really makes you ask a pretty big question. What are we actually trying to do here? What's the real goal of youth sports?
So which system really wins? Is the American machine, right, with all the amazing resources and opportunities, but also all that pressure and all that money? Or is it the Balkan way, the one that builds those deep fundamentals, but maybe struggles to keep up in our super fast-paced world?
And you know, maybe this is the real takeaway. We know the old school, development-focused way works. We've seen the proof. But as the world keeps getting faster, as we get more and more obsessed with the flashy highlight, instead of the long, hard process, the real question we have to ask ourselves is, what do we actually care about more? The final score or the soul of the game itself?